Welcome to Chase's Everything Shooting. Today's episode is about what we can do as reloaders and shooters to ensure that we're going to be able to make ammunition and shoot when we want to in the future. But before we get started, I just want to bring up, YouTube has algorithm, and he's out there unsubscribing and changing subscriptions around. So do me a favor and check to see if you're subscribed. If you're not, if you'd like it, that's great. But let's get going. Well, let's just figure out why we have such a pull. Well, you know what? The Pew Research Center, which is a very renowned research center, it did a report in 2023. And in that report, it states that 32% of Americans own firearms. That seems like a pretty big number, a very large number, larger than I thought it would have really been. But you know what? That's phenomenal, because that says that there are 32% of Americans that feel that the Second Amendment is very important to them. But let's move on. So out of that 32%, let's just do a little math. The math is that there are roughly 335 million Americans living in America today. That's part of the census. There's a lot of different backup numbers to that, but that's the most stable number that we have. Now, out of that, roughly about 107 million are gun owners. Wow, that's huge. 107 million. So we have a bigger voting bloc than most people think about. But here's the issue. Are all the gun owners voting? Are the gun owners watching what's going on? Are the gun owners caring about what's going on, or do they have their head in the sand and figuring someone else is going to do it? Well, we have to be proactive. The Census Bureau in 2020 said that 223 million, almost 224 million people voted. That's a 66.8% turnout of Americans coming to the election. Now that's very, very good. I'd like to see 100%, but that'll probably never, ever happen. So if we can get 80 or 90%, that would be great. But we'll settle at the 66.8% because realistically, that gives us a better voting bloc as shooters and reloaders. The 107 million gun owners, and then we divide that out by the people who turned out to vote, which would be 223 million, almost 224 million. That means that we would control 48% of the vote. Let me re-say that. We would represent 48% of the vote. Now, not all those registered gun owners are going to be Republicans or Democrats or libertarians. We know that's not going to be factual. That number is going to be broken up. But if you look at it, it's a very important issue. And we need to be thinking and grouping and voting as a block. We need to vote as a block locally, with our state, and with our federal elections, because we do have the power to change things. Now, a lot of this is coming because there's an election happening in 7 days. And I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm going to say you got to vote. So let's look at some other numbers and let's bring this into perspective. So we have 107 million gun owners in America, and reportedly 80% of gun owners self-reported that they voted in the 2020 elections. Okay, 80% self-reported that they voted. That means that 85 million gun owners voted. That's great. That's a heck of a block. So if we do that and we take the 85 million and then we take the 224 million of the people that voted, that makes us about a 38% block of voters. That's still phenomenal. Very, very good. But what's our problem? Our problem is we think everybody else is going to take care of it. And we can't do that. We have to get out, early vote on election day, but you have to participate in order to keep the Second Amendment and our rights at the forefront. We know that there are groups that are trying to go after our gun rights. And these numbers show that we can really perform well if we participate. Now, I know Donald Trump at the NRA said that gun owners aren't voting, and that's not quite true. You know, the numbers really don't show that. Now, what do I believe? I believe he was trying to get the vote out. And that's the most important part, is get the vote out. So do me a favor and get out on November 5th. If you haven't registered, there's some states you can still register, but get out and vote. Vote your conscience. That's what I'm going to say. Vote your conscience. Hey, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I know this is a little out of my realm on what we normally do. I don't talk politics. I talk reloading and hunting and shooting. But you know what? This is an important election. So not telling you what to do, but please vote, and may the best person win. God bless America.